Hi, I am James Kotecki. You are in the C Space Studio. We are at CES 2023, and I'm joined by Uber Advertising General Manager Mark Grether. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So Uber Advertising, can we just start by having you give us the quick snapshot, what the audience looks like, what the scope is, any kind of numbers just to kind of tie us to reality here?
Sure, Uber Advertising is a business which Uber launched last year. And so we enable advertisers to engage with our riders on the Uber platform. So imagine that you are here in Vegas on the way to, let's say, to the convention, right?
Sure.
We can show you an ad while you're in the car. Typically, it's a 20-minute ride.
Yep.
And as an advertiser, we have the opportunity to engage with you for about 2 minutes. It's a 100% share of voice. And it's a really great opportunity for advertisers to engage. We have about 125 million active users on the platform. We have about 2 billion trips a quarter, and we are actually already live in 30 markets globally. In addition to our opportunities on the mobility side, we also have a strong advertising business for our delivery partners, so restaurants. Yeah. So imagine that you would like to eat something tonight.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, and quite likely you do not actually know what you would like to eat. You are just hungry, you're starving, right?
Common problem.
And that's the opportunity now for an advertiser, right, to influence what you get tonight for dinner. And in the future, not only what you get for dinner, but also what you get from, let's say, grocery shopping, CPG, alcohol, right? Everything that's actually sold on our platform.
So let's talk about the experience for someone who's in a car. How have you found, as you said, you rolled it out relatively recently.
Yeah.
How have you found the reception? Have people been okay with being advertised to? Do they even realize that it's happening sometimes? Is it kind of subtle? What's the experience like for them?
So we actually got really great feedback from the riders themselves, as well as from advertisers. If you think about the riders, right, for them, the information that we are showing them is actually highly relevant.
Right.
And we can measure that with high click-through rates, like 3%, high viewability rates, right? But for me, actually, personally, people actually reach out to me and say, hey, I saw the ad. It was cool, it was amazing, right? So they really memorize the ads that they see in the car. They can engage with the ad, as I mentioned, right? And eventually even buy stuff on the platform.
Right.
Now, when it comes to advertisers, right, for them, it's a new platform. They're leaning in. CES is all about innovation. And so for us, it's how can we innovate with them together, right? And so we have seen a lot of good feedback from advertisers. Here we're super busy. One advertiser after the other wants to learn more about it, and so they're really leaning into it. It's really, really amazing.
We're talking about relevance. Obviously, you have a good amount of information on the rider.
Yeah.
You have information on where they're starting from and where they're going to.
Exactly.
So what are some examples of relevant things? Could it be, oh, there's a restaurant close to your destination, there's going to be a show at the venue that you're going to in 3 weeks, maybe you want to come back, things like that?
Exactly, right? It could be, hey, you're right now on the way to the airport. You're right now on the way to the gym, right? Or we may know that you are into vegan food, right? And so the cool thing about us is that we can not only influence your buying behavior online, but also your buying behavior in a retail store. Imagine you're right now on the way to, let's say, Walmart, and I'm Procter & Gamble, right? I would like to influence what you're going to buy in a brick and mortar store at a Walmart, and we can offer that.
And this is all being delivered on the phone at the moment.
Correct.
Right? Are there plans to kind of expand beyond that? I mean, there's potential to have other screens and cars and things like that.
Indeed. So we have right now 2 services live. The first one is, as you mentioned, on the phone itself, the app, right? And secondly, in 7 cities here in the US, we also have screens on top of cars.
Right.
But what we are super excited here and what we're launching here at CES is in-car tablets. So bigger screens, right, where we can then also show video advertising in the future, speaking about connected TV, right? And we're starting to launch it here in San Francisco as well as in LA, and then we eventually will roll out into more markets in the US and then globally.
And is there an incentive to the driver to install the in-car tablet? Do they somehow share in this?
Exactly. So one of the key reasons why we're doing it is, as you mentioned, right, it's an opportunity for a driver, right, to earn incremental money with the platform as they participate in the advertising opportunity here. Yeah.
Do you see the potential for a world, and I suppose it depends on the specific advertiser, what they want to do, But you mentioned that in a 20-minute trip, the advertisement might be 2 minutes. Could I effectively pay for a bigger chunk of my journey by watching more ads? Or could I get a discount on the Uber because I'm accepting more ads? Or maybe I would pay a premium not to see ads, or depending on how you slice and dice it.
Again, we're here to innovate, and that's actually on the table, right? It could be that as a rider, I might get actually a coupon, right, for watching an ad, and then eventually I redeem it when I'm at the retail place or things like that, right? So we can definitely think about that. We are super open-minded here and flexible.
When we're talking about budgeting, we've already, this topic has already come up here. You're the fourth person we're talking to today, but it's already come up. Advertising budgets for 2023. We're going into a situation of potential economic uncertainty.
Yep.
Obviously, you're biased about where advertisers should spend their money, but you also come from an academic background. I understand that you've taught advertising and marketing to students. So how would you start to think about that problem as an advertiser?
Yeah, so as an advertiser, right, it's all about incrementality, which means where do I put my next dollar so that it works the most and the hardest for me? And what we've seen, and that's again, year over year, right, you basically you take out the last, let's say, 5% of your budget where it was in the past, because you have diminishing returns of ad spend, and put it into new venues where you in the beginning will get actually a relatively high incremental return of advertising spend. Which means, especially in a situation where we eventually get into recession, right, you reconsider your current media plan, and you're moving your budgets from the big walled gardens into new venues where you get this incremental reach, incremental performance, incremental orders, whatever the KPI might be. And that's for us the opportunity, right, to then steal money from other.
If you keep on your professorial hat for a moment, and you think about today's students in business school, maybe even undergraduates, is there a key lesson or something that they need to understand about the world that they're entering in business right now, especially when it comes to marketing and advertising? Yeah,
what's interesting is, I mean, I've been in this industry for quite a while, right? On the surface, right, we talk about a lot of new things, innovation, cookies, and data privacy and whatnot, right? But underneath, right, advertising hasn't changed, marketing hasn't changed. So it's really key that you do really understand the fundamentals of consumer behaviors, right, of advertiser motivations. And then whether you call it X or Y, that may change over time, right? There's two things, but the underlying things are still the same, which means that it's all about how can you create kind of advertiser or consumer desire for a product, aka awareness, right? How can you then move them into more an attention phase? How can you then bring them into actually to buy something? Those things, they don't change, right? Whether we engage in the physical world or an online world, the fundamentals as human beings, they don't change. And so you need to have a deep understanding of that, and then all the rest almost comes naturally.
Yeah. One thing that people wonder about if it will change is the nature of the creative side of the business. When we see AI becoming an increasingly viable way, and it may not be there yet, but an increasingly viable way of creating content, or at least assisting people with creating content, do you think about that as how you think about the future?
I mean, it's a huge opportunity, right? I remember when we started and was programmatic, it was all about programmatic, right? And all about targeting and finding the needle in the haystack, right? The problem then was that we still showed the same ad to 50 different target audiences, right? What's the point of targeting? So what's now the opportunity is now we can actually mass customize creative using AI and using other technologies, right? And then suddenly you can really unleash the power of the data that you have in combination with then customized creatives for different audience segments.
Well, Mark Grether, Uber Advertising, thanks so much for joining us here at the C Space Studio.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bis später. Did I do that right? Well, thank you so much for joining us here at the C Space Studio. My name is James Kotecki. You are watching CES 2023, and we are so excited. Please keep it right here. More great conversations are on the way.